All right. Good morning, everyone. Hello, it's Yvonne, and thank you so much for joining us for another Mornings with Mayesh. I have a special treat today, as I don't have one, but I have two guests. Our latest Mayesh design star, Ashely Rodriguez of Garden and Grace Floral Design, and Kimber Greenwood of Water Bear Photography will be taking a deeper dive into their fantastical water shoot that hopefully you got to see last month, along with chatting about developing a great florist photog relationship and girl power. Who doesn't want to talk about that, right, guys? If you have not seen this video yet, it needs to be on your to-do list. So I'm going to post a link for that video so you guys can check it out after the live, of course. And while we're getting started, everyone say hello while you're joining us. Let us know where you are watching from or listening from. Definitely, if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. And I just have a few more items that I wanted to cover before we get started. All right, guys. So as you guys know, Ashely is one of our Mayesh design stars, and we are actually looking for our next Mayesh design star. We're currently searching for our lineup of 2023 stars. Next year, we're going to be having 4 designers creating 3 videos each. And next year, we're also going to be focusing on sustainability. If that interests you, or if you know someone that would be perfect for this, be sure to spread the word and fill out our application. Remy wants you to do that too. That's my Sharpay in the background. Of course, he always waits for me to start the show. He's been quiet like all morning long. So let me post the link for Mayesh Design Star. Help us spread the word. Again, if you guys know someone that would be perfect for this, or if you've been wanting to do this, don't wait. Don't delay or say, I'm going to wait for that perfect moment, because honestly, there's never that perfect moment. Everyone's busy and crazy, but this is such a really cool, exciting opportunity. And, we want to have you enter and join us. Also, I just got back from Cal Flowers Fun and Sun Conference. It took place in San Diego last week. It was really, really amazing. And I wanted to just real quick, I have to load up a video. I did this earlier, but of course, I had to restart my computer and all that fun stuff because nothing was, working for me correctly when I got back. But I've been gone for a week and a half, guys. This shows like the first thing that I'm doing as soon as I'm, walking in. I clean my emails a little bit. But last week was amazing. I got to sit on a marketing discussion panel talking about marketing, but the focus was that flower feeling campaign. If you aren't familiar with this campaign, I'm going to share with you a 30-second video in a minute here. But Cal Flowers has created so many really amazing types of assets for you. It's video clips and different lengths, images, and more. So and you don't have to use these assets, but I wanted to make sure that you knew about them, that you have the link. You have to go to their link. I'm going to post the link for that flower feeling on the Cal Flowers website, but then there's another website. It's thatflowersfeeling.org. And you go there and you request access. But this first link that I give you kind of shows you what they have available and how you get access to this. And again, even if you don't use these things that are really brilliant, I love it. I've watched this video like a bazillion times. There's like a 30-second one, I think a 15-second one, and a minute. It's just really amazingly done, super professional. And, if we can get this message in front of more eyeballs, the end consumers, which those are the consumers that your clients, right, that you work with, this is just going to make it even stronger and hopefully build up that, just demand for flowers every day and just taking care of people. So let me play this video for you guys real quick.
These days, you've really got to start taking care of yourself. You've got to pamper. Find time to unwind.
And now, you try it.
Learn to let it out. Then, I discovered flowers, proven by actual science to give you a mental and emotional boost. So do yourself a favor. Just go get some flowers.
Okay, so I love that commercial. The 1-minute one is awesome too. And I just really relate to that, especially the green smoothie stuff, the yoga stuff, the math stuff. I'm always worried about, putting things in the wrong spot and, you're missing your eyebrows. I don't know about you. I really want to do the screaming thing, but flowers are much more simpler than all of that. And it is proven that it really does help improve your life. So again, if you guys are looking for something to help promote flowers, check these assets out. I'm going to have someone from Cal Flowers, I think, on soon for Mornings with Mayesh. So that way we can really deep dive into that piece of our world right now and learn more about it. Hopefully get you guys more excited. Okay, so that was the second thing I wanted to talk to you about. My third and final thing is just a reminder, we are in our third round of our customer appreciation giveaway. Have you entered yet? We teamed up with an amazing marketing agency, Fresh Path, to give away 20 workshops through the end of February. We're already through, I think, round 2. We're going to be I'm still catching up, so I'm pretty sure we need to announce the winners for round 2. But round 3, you have the deadline until December 12th. So again, don't delay. Fill out that form. It's super easy. You can select from 5 different packages that are really tailored to help your business. So we love you guys. We want to appreciate you all year long. And so this is a fun way that we are showing that appreciation. And I hope that you love it as much as I do. All right, so we're going to get started. Thanks for hanging in there with me. And here we go. Hi, Kimber. Hi, Ashely. How are you guys?
Good, doing well.
Yay, good. So, Ashely, you've been on here before. Kimber, I haven't had you on Mornings with Mayesh yet. So thank you both for coming on. But just in case we have some people that are new and may not know who you guys are, can you just take a couple minutes to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, so I'm Ashely Rodriguez. I'm owner and lead designer at Garden and Grace Florals, and we're based here in Gainesville, Florida. And we're actually here in Kimber's studio, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Kimber Greenwood. I am the owner of Water Bear Photography. So instead of just regular photography, my studio specializes in underwater work. And I met Ashely through doing it, and we have had a long, fun friendship filled with some cool collaborations, most recently involving Mayesh.
I love it. Yes, so amazing. I know I posted a link already, and I already talked about this, and I just get really excited. I think I said this in the last live. It's just, we don't get to do things that we've never ever done before, we've never seen before. And I know I haven't seen everything in the whole entire world, but I haven't seen this before in my own personal bubble. So I was just really excited when Ashely brought this idea to us and then brought Kimber on board, and we were just blown away. The video turned out even, I think, much more bigger and better and beautiful and much more than what we thought it was going to be. So just really excited to have you guys on to talk about this, because it is so unusual. It's not like your typical flower shoot. There's a lot more, I think, planning and details that have to go into it. And so now that we do have this second video that came out and we saw the behind the scenes of the underwater shoot, what are your guys' biggest takeaways? Anything you would each do differently next time?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kimber and I were chatting about this. We could talk about this for hours, because I think we both enjoy the mechanics of what we do and how we can kind of keep evolving. So definitely, I think, there were some takeaways, although we did a lot of planning, as you can see in the second video, to make sure that, we executed as well as we could in the moment. But I think that just the size and scope of what we did, and Kimber can speak more to the details of this, but really honestly making probably an even bigger set next time would be ideal, so that the models could interact with things more. Kimber was so kind, for example, to have me model, but we had to make sure I was like in a dress that wouldn't get caught, everywhere. And so, there were just things that I think from that perspective we would do differently. Kimber even suggested like having maybe even a different backdrop on the bottom of the pool, for example, again, so that there wouldn't be like hazards with that.
Right. So one of the biggest challenges and differences between photographing above water and photographing underwater is underwater you have to use what's called an ultra wide angle lens. And so it exaggerates distance really, really strongly, much more so than lenses that you would use for regular portraiture. So that being said, the things that are going to be close are going to look a lot closer, and things that are far are going to look a lot farther than they would normally. So what I found is that when I was editing images, especially, we didn't have enough floor covering or wall covering so that we could get all the pieces and components centered in the set. So that would be something that we would, work on our forced perspective a little bit better next time. We did a very admirable job, I will say, for our first set of the scale, but just for ease of being able to edit future images and have models interact, have multiple models. And then I think also Ashely and I discussed that we would love in the future to be able to have more mobile set pieces. We struggled with like anchoring things and being able, once we got them down, we got them, but we couldn't move them. So that's something that we talked about maybe next time, is having pieces that move them, being able to move them and rearrange and then create different components and different feels with the same pieces over and over to get a little bit more variety.
Right. So thinking about the scale of things, then would you need like a much bigger pool than what you guys shot in? Like,
no, we don't need a bigger pool. We just need, so I guess here's probably the best way to say it. When you're modeling underwater or even above water, if you put your hand toward the camera, it looks larger than my head, right? It doesn't look correct. Underwater, that effect is amplified by about a factor of 5. So this would look 10 times more dramatic even underwater. So that being said, what the background looks really tiny, even though we had two 20-piece pieces of fabric, it was still just not enough.
Seemed small.
It did. So in the future, we would probably get an entirely separate bottom piece for the pool, and then probably a third panel for the back of the pool, and then that way everything would be covered.
Very good. It's amazing. So what kind of, but you said like the part that goes on the ground, you would change that out too. So
So like what we had initially decided on, I liked the idea of like boxwood, faux boxwoods essentially, right? So that's almost like a grassy back like floor for the photo shoot. But ultimately, number one, we had to weight every one of those down, which like that took hours. But ultimately too, like to Kimber's point, we, even with the number that we had, and we had many of these boxwood sheets, really even that didn't cover the entire bottom of the pool. And
it wasn't cost effective.
Exactly. Either. It was also, fairly expensive to do that. So the idea was we could, to get really the same type of imagery, we could do just a similar backdrop, place it on the bottom of the pool, maybe in a green tone. We could still have the anchoring, florals, but again, it would be easier to edit because we weren't trying to, make sure the boxwoods were just so on the bottom of the pool. So it was good. It was good to understand that. For sure.
But I think a lot of things played differently. Things like there'd be like floating sections that we were trying to weight, and then having the urns on top destabilized them.
Right.
And so there was a lot of factors at play with the physics purely of just working underwater in a deep pool that we had to account for that we would have never had to even factor in on land.
Right.
So that was something from a safety perspective too. Just making sure that we were always checking in the integrity of the set before we let a model in, and making sure that there's, low risk of anything falling or slipping or anything like that.
Yeah, very good. Kimber, can you talk a little bit about the equipment that you use specifically for this shoot? I know Ashely really went into the mechanics and things that she used in our last live and the video that she did with the 2 videos that she did with us. But what about you? What do you need to do these types of things? Because I know you do underwater photo shoots, but not typically with these big giant sets. It's more like models or couples and things like that, right?
Right. So we do sometimes incorporate large sets, but I will say that this was hands down the largest set that I've ever used personally. So it definitely had a lot of factors in, but I use basically a professional mirrorless camera, and I have a professional grade aluminum housing with a huge glass dome port on the front. And so that lets me be able to take professional level images underwater. We typically use constant lighting, but for this set, we designed it to be mostly natural light because we knew that we were going to have shifting pieces and models moving in different angles. So I didn't want the models to be relegated to one position only that they could be in. So what we did instead was we built scrims over the pool. And what a scrim is that kind of translucent fabric hanging behind me. So the sunlight is just sort of gently filtered through it. And instead of having harsh sun, it really evens out the light. And we kind of just used the power of the sun as our main light, and then just used fill as we needed it on the bottom of the pool to fill in those shadows. So I tried to keep my gear relatively simple so that it wouldn't take up tons of space because I knew that the set needed it more than I did for the shoot. For me personally, the pool is heated, so it was a very comfortable temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we just needed some masks. We needed safety crew. We did a safety briefing every single day before we got in the water. Someone would hop in. We would check in partner pairs to make sure that the set still, had integrity, that nothing had shifted or moved overnight. That everything was weighted properly. We would kind of go in and even yank on it just to make sure that it was solid. And then other than that, we had different people stationed at different angles. So we would have someone with a light at one corner. We'd have someone with a safety buoy in the other corner. We had Ashely with some fresh florals ready to fill in holes. So it was just, we all had our roles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when you guys are doing things underwater, are you wearing weighted belts and things like that to keep yourself steady? Because I know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I have to, because it's really important for me to be able to go down and keep solid footing so that I can adjust my angles and my buoyancy and compose the images. For my safety people, I don't want them weighted because if they need to go down and grab someone, I want them to be as buoyant as possible. Were you weighted?
I was at times, depending on what we were doing. And then, yes, I was weighted and they were so careful with me. But when I did a little bit of modeling, I was weighted. And then we had the safety swimmer right above so that I could hop back up when I needed to. So yeah, so many components to it.
Yeah. It is, if you're not a professional underwater model, it's really, really, really challenging to model underwater if you have any body fat at all. So being a woman, we're kind of naturally at a disadvantage. So you have to basically exhale every ounce of breath in your body to be able to sink, which doesn't give you a lot of time at the bottom to pose, to adjust fabric, to adjust hair, and then create a beautiful image. You're really on a time crunch. So having just a pound or two on Ashely really helped her get down and gave her time that she needed to get the images.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it's so counterintuitive. Kimber and her team kept saying, we're here with you, you're safe, but you need to let out as much air as you can before going underwater. It's a little bit scary. But it's not, when you have professional people who do this all the time and they're there with you to make sure you're safe. But it is really a whole process. And these underwater models are truly athletes. I mean, it's incredible how long they can hold their breath and just how long they need to be underwater.
Yeah, and we train all the time for it. And also, you go down, you hold your breath, you're going to have that's just not going to be for a cute picture.
Right.
So.
No. Or the scared look on your face because you're worried you're going to be running out of air. That sounds very, very scary.
It's a lot of trust involved. It's a lot of trust and a lot of teamwork. And we always kind of joke that the people who do these sets, who do these shoots with us, they end up being really close afterwards. Sort of build a bond.
Totally. Right.
When you think you're going to die all together, yes.
Exactly.
Definitely brings people together.
It really does. Nothing like bonding over a near-death experience.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No one was at near-death.
I'm just teasing. I know it just kind of takes me back to my San Diego trip. I mentioned it to you guys, but I took my girls and my husband. We all went to San Diego, and we did kayaking at the La Jolla Caves. And so we finally get there, and while we're going there, the girls are watching these big giant waves crashing into the side of the cliffs. And my oldest just looks at me and she's like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, baby, we're going to go all in. And if we all die together, we're going to do it together. So let's just do it. We made it here. Yeah. But afterwards, it was such a very amazing bonding experience because we were all scared.
We did it.
Yeah. Right. Very, very cool. And then Kimber, do you hold your breath or do you have a tank with you so that you can just stay under?
Yeah, so that's a question I get a lot because it would definitely be easier for me to just sit down there on a tank. I've been a scuba diver for over 20 years. It's actually how I met my husband, was through cave diving. But for what I find with modeling shoots is that it's really important that I free dive and hold my breath as well so that I can come up and offer encouragement and critiques, constructive critiques, to the models in between shoots so that way they kind of get immediate feedback instead of just wondering am I doing this right? Are there things I should be changing? And then that way too, I can maintain eye contact. I can check in with them. I can see if they're getting fatigued, and it just gives me a better line of communication. So I feel like that's really important, even though it's definitely physically harder on me, because even if we switch out models, I'm doing every single free dive. So I'll do up to well over 100 a day sometimes.
Wow.
And that gets exhausting, but I think it's worth it just from the safety and the communication aspect.
Right. Yeah.
It is really amazing to watch that. I will say it's like yeah, exactly. It's like a partnership, right? Like going up and down in the water, and it is, yeah.
I breathe in sync with my models. So because, obviously I want to time my shots to them. So I'll even time my breath to them. And so when I can see the signals that they're giving me that they're ready to go down, I'll do my last inhale, and then we'll go down together. And then that way I can maintain eye contact with them the entire time. There's never a point where they're not supervised.
Very, very cool. Yeah, that's interesting, because I know you sometimes, work with mermaids, professional mermaids, to do your underwater shoots. And again, for a family trip, we went to a springs that's like north of where I live in South Florida, because there's no springs down here where it's super hot and warm. But we went to Weeki Wachee Springs, and they have a mermaid show there, and like no one comes up for air. They like have like the little oxygen thing that they suck on down so they can keep on doing their show. So I was just curious, because I did see that in my life. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
No, we do have those. So my pool, actually, we do have a Snuba system that we can use. And if I'm working with some of my models that I've been working with for years and years, and we have that underwater communication, sure, sometimes I will literally just go sit down there and just wait for them to do their thing. But if I'm working with, either an unfamiliar models or clients especially, I'm going to free dive every single time.
Right. Very good. Very good. All right, cool. Let's see. So my next question is, Ashely, I know you took your time in planning what flowers to use underwater. Did all of them work out the way that you hoped, or did you come across any issues? Because I know pools have chlorine, and
that's a good
they're
question.
underwater for a long time.
Yes.
So any kind of insight there that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think, and we talked about this a little bit in the videos too. I mean, I think our biggest thing to keep in mind with the flowers was types of flowers that would be sturdy, that we could ensure would last underwater for days, and so we definitely tried to find, stems, and I think we did a great job, actually. Maria was incredible in the Miami office helping me to do that. And then the colors that, Kimber really felt would look the best underwater. And so I will say, from that perspective, I think no surprises. I'm happy to report that all worked out really well. What we did notice was maybe a little bit of just over the next day or two. I mean, it was literally like by day 3, maybe, that the color was like a little bit different, which I didn't know what to expect, honestly, with them being that long underwater. I think that was truly, I would say, the only surprise. And the only other thing I can say, and this is a good thing, is that with some of the mechanics, I didn't know how much ultimately, when we put everything down, and neither of us knew after the first day, right, how much would maybe come up or start to float up. So we really looked at that pool the next morning, the first morning after, and we're like, okay, we may have a couple hours of placing things back in. But really everything also held. I can't say enough about how I think just reinforcing the mechanics of wire on wire, essentially, with the chicken wire and then plastic wiring, really ensured that pretty much everything stayed. There were little pieces maybe that were coming up, here and there, but ultimately the stems that we chose did provide, the cover and the sturdiness that we hoped they would. So that all was awesome. And especially because we use things like anthurium and orchids and roses that we knew submerged, especially orchids, right? That's how they take in water, would do well in that environment. So that's a great question.
Very cool. I actually have a couple of questions that came through on Instagram. My first is a comment from Retired Plant Lady. She said, "Good morning. I'm so impressed with all of your mechanics." So she really enjoyed the video, ladies. Just passing that along. And then she wants to know, what was your budget for this amazing shoot? Do you guys know approximately how much?
Yeah, let's see. we talked about this a little bit, because I think there are some things that are hard to put a number on for us, as
I want to say we spent at least $100 at Home Depot.
Right, exactly. Just from
Getting
mechanics.
getting the wire, getting the
Exactly.
the different things that we needed to weight everything.
Yeah.
I paid each model, of course, because I'm a big believer in women paying women. So each model was paid and compensated for their time. Let's see, the dresses I already had all of the pieces. Was there any piece? I'm trying to think if I ordered any pieces.
Maybe one dress.
I think I ordered one or two pieces, but other than that, I had most of the pieces already sourced from my gown closet at my studio.
I had some of the faux pieces. I foraged, honestly, some dried, like the dried palms, which is a really big thing. I can't say enough of, like to just help keep within budget. Those are things that I feel are really, I mean, as long as you're foraging in a way that's appropriate and legal, that definitely helped. I also had some dried stems that we used, and I talked about this, I think, in one of the videos, like anchor the back of things. But there were still probably about $200 or $300 in, like, between other mechanics, fishing weights and other faux materials, and the boxwoods.
The boxwoods were an unexpected expense.
Right, because we ended up needing more even when we put them at the bottom of the pool. We needed to purchase more. So, I mean, I would say, honestly, even just in that, just probably $500.
Yeah, I would say that's about right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Good question.
So all in all, and I mean, we were also fortunate that other companies kind of got involved and they donated a lot of things to the shoot. So we had, in addition to Mayesh, and sponsoring some of it, we also had a backdrop designer be willing to work with us and custom design backdrops that would have cost me well over $1,000, had I purchased those. So there were some really other generous people who jumped in.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people that really made this shoot so special.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my next question is from Carl Millsaps. They're asking, how did you get connected in order to collaborate for this shoot? Did you already know each other? Did you reach out via social media? You guys want to tell your story between the two of you?
Yes, we love sharing our stories, so we'll tell everyone. Yeah, that is a great question too, because I do feel strongly about having a strong connection, particularly in an environment like this, right, where you need to just feel safe and secure in what you're doing. So Kimber and I actually met doing a photo shoot for a venue in town, and had not met before that. That was several years ago. And then just kind of, things happened from there. We both were evolving in our work.
I was actually a fangirl of Ashely's first. So I found her on Instagram and I kind of stalked her Insta because she was doing florals that nobody else here in town was doing. And at the time I was still shooting weddings, and, I'd seen a lot of the traditional wedding photography kind of pop up, the wedding florals with like the bulb bouquets, but Ashely just had this really organic kind of wild editorial style, and it spoke to my soul. So I kind of obsessed over Ashely a little bit, and then I was really excited the day that we ended up I was shooting a wedding, and I walked in and I was like, I know you, and you were like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, no, I know you, and we're friends now. So we kind of connected through there, and then I think just creatively, we've always just really been aligned. And we just work really well together. So I don't even know what project number this is of ours.
I don't think we can count.
But we've done quite a few collaborations over the years, and just grown a friendship, honestly, through our shared love of like motherhood and business and collaboration. So
I love it. Little heart. Very good. And I think this is a really great segue for the next question. What makes a good photographer-florist relationship?
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you want to start?
Sure. So I think ultimately it's, when you're collaborating with somebody, it can either be the best part of your month where you look forward to it and you feel creatively fulfilled and excited and energized, or it can be the worst part of your month where you feel a little bit abused, and you can get resentful of people if you feel like you've been taken advantage of in any way. So I think the most important thing, honestly, is to be aligned and to have really open communication. And I think also to respect each other professionally. Sure. I might tell her like, hey, I think these colors would look great, but I'm not going to like sit there and micromanage, she's the expert. She understands florals. Same thing for her. She's not going to tell me how to shoot an image. She'll tell me her vision, and then we'll collaborate on how to make things happen. But I think that we have a lot of really mutual respect and admiration for each other. I think we're also really good at talking and communicating,
Yes.
setting boundaries, expectations, honoring deadlines, good division of labor. We put out a contract with every single collaboration we do. Even though we've been doing this for a long time, we still set forth kind of, here's the expectations, here's what you're responsible for, here's what I'm responsible for, here's the timeline that I'll have the images back to you by. And then that way, I think that we keep a really awesome, healthy, open relationship and great open communication.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you said everything that I was going to say. I mean, I think communication is just so important. And even when, again, like Kimber said, even when you're friends and you really, you know, are close with someone, you can't, I think, overstate what your expectations are. And in fact, in any relationship, that's really good and helpful. So I definitely think we take that into our personal and professional lives, and we both appreciate it. We work well that way. And it always makes for better projects together too. You know, I think that it always makes for a better end result, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you two are two boss ladies, and you know, women supporting women in entrepreneurship seems to be a big focus for you both. Has that always been a priority for your businesses?
Yeah, so I would say, you know, yes and no. For me, I think it always, as a woman, you know, I've always been focused on that. But I would definitely say, Kimber alluded to it a little bit earlier, but for me, just you know, maturing as a person and becoming a mom and working in an entrepreneurial field, I think over the years has made me want to do more in that space. So I think Kimber and I both are now at the point where, particularly for this shoot, we really sought out individuals who we knew or had heard of, you know, who are women who are really in their field, well known, you know, models and otherwise, and the backdrop designer, you know, people who we just knew we could trust and who would be other powerhouses to bring into this collaboration. So I'll say, you know, I think that even has evolved for me, and it makes the work, I think, more meaningful to be able to incorporate women and individuals of color, you know, all kinds of diversity. I think we both feel always is a win. So
Yeah. I think for me, when I started as a photographer, I have 2 science degrees. And when I started as a photographer, I knew nothing about running a business. I don't have an MBA. I had no idea what I was doing, and nobody would help me. So I made a lot of really expensive, costly mistakes. I almost put myself out of business more than once. And so for me, it is very, very, very important that if I can give some advice, if I can give encouragement, if I can give some constructive criticism and make it easier, especially for another woman business owner to succeed, I want to do that, because when she succeeds, I succeed. And we can all lift each other up. We can all encourage each other. And so for me in my business, it is a huge point that since I am a woman employing other women, that we have fair and open wages. Everyone knows what everyone makes in my studio. We have specific goals as a team. Even when I purchase, if I can purchase from local women-owned businesses, I will always give them priority. And I really try hard to keep as much of my money local and women spent as I can. Even just my small business, there's 9 women-owned businesses that I purchase from on a monthly basis. So I think that, you know, by lifting each other up, by all of us succeeding, they lift me up in turn. And it's this awesome cycle where truly, I'm just gonna say it too. Women-run businesses are the best. Studies show that 54 cents of every dollar, you know, women spend more, stay in their community. We run with higher profits. We run with lower debts. Women are just really good business owners, and I want to see more of us killing it out there. So that's my personal take on it.
Cheers to that. And I don't know how the photography world is, but I know the florist world, you know, majority are women businesses. You know, we obviously have the guys too that are represented, but it is a lot of women. Is that the same in the photography world?
So there's actually a really kind of strange imbalance. A lot of the mom photographers, so more of the budget-based photographers, definitely tend to be women. You know, young moms. That was me. You know, I'll come out and say it. I started as a mommy photographer. You know, just looking to make a couple extra dollars while my baby napped. But most of the highest paid photographers are still men. Most of the high dollar projects are still commissioned by men. The ad agencies are still staffed by men. So women still have a very, very, very long way to go in the photography industry, especially in dealing with sexism and being taken seriously with these kind of projects. For underwater photography, it is definitely much more male driven as well. There are more and more women emerging, and that's why I teach workshops. And I have loved having, honestly, the bulk of my attendees to my workshops have been female, and that has been very fun and very exciting to see this next generation come up.
That's very exciting to see. You both inspire so many people, and that's amazing. And anytime there's anything that we can do to help that, just let me know. My door is always open.
Thank you so much.
So, guys, what is next for your photography floral partnership, guys? What are you thinking about? What are you planning? What do you want to do together?
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
So, this couldn't be our, our last thing, because now that we've done this, we have to keep going bigger and better, right? So,
well, I think this year, honestly, this was so fun. I mean, when you have this, when you have those projects where things just seat right, like they just, you feel inspired, you feel excited to wake up in the morning, you can't wait to talk, like you just want to talk about it and like tell random strangers. Like that's how I felt with this project. I felt every single person who, whether it was working with Mayesh, whether it was Ashely, whether it was our models, whether it was the designers, it just honestly, it was just the dream team. And so I think we're doing more projects like this where we get to work with especially a ton of other women who are all creatively aligned. And that to me was so empowering. No nasty words on set, just encouragement, just laughing.
Even when stressful situations come up, right? They could have, they could have been challenging.
We just had a blast. Yeah. I mean, it was just truly, it was kind of like what you're like, oh, this is what a healthy work environment is supposed to be. So I think doing more shoots like this, building on it creatively. I think we're planning a fun Halloween shoot.
Yes.
And what else we have?
And I know Kimber's really into this, so I want to do more of really a little bit more on the activism side, even with underwater photography, and just promoting, for example, the springs here are always an interest for conservation, and some of that kind of keep the springs clean and pollutant free and all that kind of stuff. I think there are some interesting ways we can use art, right, in that way, with kind of conservation activism. And then we're going to be featured actually. So Kimber and I are both Texas A&M graduates, which is random since we both live in Gainesville, Florida. But our alma mater is also going to be featuring us in their publication, I think in the spring, or this shoot actually, in fact, some photos. So that'll be fun.
Awesome. Congrats, guys.
Thank you. That was really fun to. Another thing we bonded over is our love for Texas A&M. So, but I think that, I think what we really found with this shoot and some of the others is that the possibilities are endless when you're using florals underwater, and there's very few people doing this at this level. So we really want to keep building maybe underwater art installations, underwater sets for eloping couples who want something different. Right. Who knows, maybe we'll shoot some music videos or something. I think the sky's kind of the limit with what we could do for this.
Yeah, put it all out there. That would be amazing, right?
HGTV, just call us.
Exactly, yeah.
I know, and forward this to like the big music producers, because that would be amazing to see.
Right? Underwater florals, that would be so cool.
It's just, I think there's not a lot of people doing it, and this is something too that there's not a lot of, like you said, there's not a lot of things left to kind of be done. But I think that this is an area where we both still feel like we have so much room to grow and kind of step into our own. And I think we're excited about the possibilities of pushing ourselves and seeing what we can keep doing. Like, if this is just what we can do, a year into collaborating, like what could we do in 3 years, in 5 years? So I think that there's a whole potential for, almost like a new kind of art with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad, again, that we got to be in each other's orbit and work together on this amazing project. And I'm just so thrilled and just so happy to meet you both and share this with our community. And again, I really loved working with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Same.
This had fun. When Ashely called me and told me about this, I was so excited that we got to do this and do it with you. And it was really a dream come true. Thanks for the belief in us and the trust in us. And this was just a all around amazing experience.
Awesome. Good. All right, guys. For those that are listening, I posted in the comments the Ashely and Kimber's Instagram and website, so that way you can connect with them after this. and follow along with whatever they have, all the amazingness that they're going to be doing. And I hope, let me just check questions. I'm good on the questions, I think. Maria just posted she on Instagram. She's watching right now live. Hi, Maria. And she said it was so much fun to be a part of. She loves working with Ashely. So I don't think she knows you, Kimber. I'm sure she would have loved working with you, but yeah, it was.
Who doesn't love Ashely?
I know. So this was amazing, guys. Thank you so much again for coming on. Everyone that's listening, thank you so much for spending some time with us on Tuesday morning. It's technically, I feel like Monday morning since yesterday was the holiday. So I really appreciate you guys. And just stay tuned for our next show. And I will see you all soon. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.